Hey guys, Andy Albright here, fired up out of my mind. I'm in rainy Paris. Hopefully you can see the Eiffel Tower in the background. What an icon, what a beautiful mystery for people to check out. Last night we had dinner there under the shadows of the Eiffel Tower with several of the leaders in the Alliance. And what a bonding, relationship building time. What I want to talk to you about is not the Eiffel Tower, not the Bonjour Tour. I want to talk to you about the contest that we're running right now, because the ones in Paris are in Paris. It's the people that are back home that didn't earn or win the Paris trip. I want y'all to come with us on an all-expense paid trip to Alaska. We'll fly up to Seattle, Washington. We'll get on this ridiculous cruise ship and go down the Inner Passage and go out to Alaska. Let me tell you this, hot chocolate on the top of that boat, looking at a glacier at about a mile off. It's massive. You'll never forget it. We did it about 16 years ago, and we haven't quit talking about it. That's why we're going back again. I want you to experience it. If you're not part of our team, you can become a part of the team, and the next few months, earn that trip. It'll give you a chance to build relationship, meet top executives with the insurance companies, meet our top people, and network. Build friendships that will last a lifetime. Here's what you gotta do. The right thing. You gotta get on the phone and start making calls. You gotta get appointments. You gotta get referrals. We'll show you how to do the whole thing. If you're part of our team, you didn't win Paris, we miss you. We almost canceled the trip because you didn't make it. We don't want to be sad next year. We want you to earn it and win it. We love you. Do what it takes so that we are cutting films with you from Alaska back home at the other people that didn't make it. Okay? Come with us. Love you. It's going to be a great trip.
In the latter part of 2019, the Alliance and Foresters Financial ran a contest, the Fire Drill event, in which the top 12 veterans and 3 rookies, based on Foresters production, could earn their way to here, Toronto, Canada, and the Foresters Financial home office.
We're in Toronto! Oh my gosh, this has been the most incredible experience. So yesterday I arrived to Canada. It was freezing cold when we got off the plane. Today we're at Foresters headquarters, and we have been able to meet the whole Foresters team. I mean, from operations to the indexing side, everybody, the CEO is here. He's been spending time with us. I've really enjoyed being here also with the leaders of the company. I mean, the Inner Six are here, and I mean, from Diane Lamping, Stephen Davies, Andy Riddle. I mean, so many of the leaders have been pouring into us while we've been on this trip. Going and staying at the Fairmont Royal York, the hotel is beautiful. We walked in, there was a huge Christmas tree lit up for the holidays. And I mean, everything from the room to the, the concierge, everything has been amazing. We went over to George's restaurant and had a 6-course meal. Never eaten 6 courses before in my life, so that was amazing. We had lamb, tuna, just all types of desserts, and it was really, really incredible to be there. We are going to a Raptors and Miami Heat game, and I am so fired up. I know nothing about basketball, but we're getting the 5-star, all-expense-paid treatment to go, the VIP experience.
At Foresters Financial, we are so proud of our relationship with the Alliance. It's been a long-term relationship, and we do not see it going anywhere but up in the foreseeable future.
Come with me. I will be back here in Toronto next year. Guys, there's going to be so many contests going on, so many opportunities, so many different things that Andy and the team is doing to make sure that we're in position for 2020. Get fired up. I mean, this is crazy. So I'm excited. See you guys in 2020.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wednesday Call Live, filmed in the wonderful Louisville, Kentucky. Today with our special guest host, Mike and Ruel Levantovich.
All right, thank you, Billy. Thank you for getting us kicked off. Hey, welcome, Alliance Nation. Glad to see you. Hey, things are cooking. Things are heating up here in March. If you haven't felt it, oh my gosh, get around. A lot of crazy good things going on. Noelle will be joining us here in a second. Quick delay as she was out running about making things happen. But I just tell you what, as we sit here at the, what is it? We're about the third week in March, just wrapped up. I don't know about your team, but our team, we're seeing application counts blow through the roof. We're seeing some record paychecks. We're seeing record numbers of annuities. We're seeing people step up in lead flow. It really is crazy. Noelle came off a road trip last week visiting 4 cities. It's like, oh my gosh, what a great time to be alive. What a great time to be in business. What a great time to be making things happen. And so if you are new and you're just joining us, you're checking things out, hey, welcome. Glad to have you here. We've got a lot of things to lay out for you. One of the things that, as we were talking with our mentor, Andy, earlier this week, he said, Mike, we've got so many advantages with the Alliance and our program. And we wanted to take some time to really lay those out. In fact, today, I'll even give you a heads up. This is kind of a 2-part call. We've got a bunch we're going to cover here on the activity call today, but we've got more that we're going to be hitting on Friday on the activity call. So, hey, take notes. We've got a lot that we've got with a series of guests today, and we've got more set up to be jumping in with on Friday. So just stay tuned, be aware, and it's going to be fun. Got a lot of good things. Got some special guests, people that are here to help you, and people that are using these advantages as well. So, my gosh, just to kind of start, it's like I go back and you look at when we first got started. It's like we were lucky to have leads. Like we were just like, oh my gosh. I mean, if you looked at, we would get leads through direct mail. That was our only source at the time. And we would have to get them physically. Like they would come in a UPS pack. And sometimes UPS, like when our office was in our home, UPS would knock on the door. And if we were down at our lower level, we didn't hear him. And so then he would leave a sticky note. Y'all know our sticky notes? That's where we got it from, was UPS. Because if we weren't able to sign for the package because of the value of the leads, he wouldn't leave them. So then I would get up and say, I wonder where our leads are. And I would see a sticky note and say, oh God. So then I would kind of know his route. How did I learn his route? Because I had to chase him down before. So I would get in my car and I'm driving around looking for my UPS guy. And I'd be like, I kind of knew his path. I'd be like on lookout. So I didn't have to wait to get my leads because it wasn't just mine, it was for our team. And we had to get them out to people. And in fact, once I caught up with him, I said, oh, well, thank God I found you, because if I missed him, then I'd have to like, wait, has he arrived back at the station yet? And I have to go and figure out some kind of way to get to the UPS depot and find my driver and get the package then, or you have to wait for the next day. It was just a disaster. It's like now it's like, oh, look, you get your leads, you get them instantly, and all you got to do is have a printer. And if you don't, you can still see the images of backup. It's best. I'm a tactile person, like having leads in my hands, but that's just crazy, like how we've progressed. So the fact that we have this electronic distribution of leads, that they're being created constantly, the fact with our instant, we didn't have no fancy schmancy instant purchase map that you could see inventory across the state or country or the country or your county. We didn't have different types of leads. We didn't have follow-up leads. It was pretty crazy if you think back how we started where we're at now. We didn't have multiple lead vendors like we have now. So it's almost like I'm hoping for anybody that's listening that you are able to appreciate what we've got in the lead side. And if you've never worked with leads before, hey, I hope you can still appreciate just having leads. It's kind of crazy. So with that said, I'll just tell you, we're going to talk about some of the advantages. Just having leads, period, is there. But beyond that, it's not just having the leads, but it's having, the different types and tools. And so, and then having resources like the fact that we have a whole concierge program of people to help you figure out what's a good lead plan. And it's like, I never want to take that for granted. Even the ability to help a new agent get leads. Because here was the next thing. Once I found the UPS driver, provided that he didn't leave my leads like in the rain where then they were wet. Some of y'all, like you might have used to be having like clothespins. Well, we needed clothespins to hang our leads up to dry. Why? Because can you imagine, like we had to let them dry because the ink would start drying, because we actually got the original copies, like the originals of the leads. And so like sometimes your leads would get left on the doorstep in a puddle if maybe you'd given them permission to leave it, and then it would be soaking wet. So then you're like opening up the package and we're getting the leads and we're placing them either like on tables and flat surfaces and putting fans up and then start to blow, or we'd be like, we actually have a lot like a string. We didn't have I thought about putting them in the dryer, right? Just to say, I wonder if it'd be like laundry if I just put them in the dryer and let them dry that way. But we basically found out, okay, yeah, we could hang up a string and let them dry off. And then we'd have to fax them. Y'all know what a fax is? Some of you don't. It's like, okay, a facsimile machine. So if you were getting leads to an agent on your team, what you'd have to do is you'd have to call them and say, hey, I'm about to fax you leads. And they didn't have like an e-fax thing where it was like a fax mailbox in the sky where they would just receive it beyond. No, they would have their home phone. Some of you don't know what a home phone is. That's like where you actually pay a service so you can have a phone that's in your house that you can't walk around with. Okay. And so they would have one home line. And the problem is that would be for their home phone and their fax machine. So you would have to call them and say, okay, Joe, I'm going to fax your leads. Can you go plug in your fax machine? And so they would plug in their fax machine. Hopefully you would then turn on your fax machine to send. And then the agent would forget that you were going to try to fax some leads. And he would answer the phone, hello? And you could hear your fax machine going beep. And then on the other side, you hear your fax machine is trying to talk to your agent who wasn't smart enough to leave the phone alone and let his fax machine pick up. So that's how we used to get leads out to agents. So after we were done drying them or chasing them down, letting them dry, and then have them dry enough that we could get them to a fax machine, making sure we had an agent that was intelligent enough to let their fax machine answer the phone so they could get their lead. So I think sometimes it's just good to get some perspective of where we came from a little bit on creating leads and what we do. So if you ever have like a bad moment where like, gosh, this lead, as a friend of mine told me a long time ago, we have two types of leads. We have bad leads and no leads. Which kind would you like? And most people chose the bad leads, but we don't like to overpromise or talk about how great the leads are to some extreme where people have too high an expectation on any one. It's really a perspective of, okay, all the leads work. Everything works a little bit or a lot, and having different types in a blend is going to be a smart strategy for most people, especially as you're learning and figuring things out. Whew, all right. I'm almost getting like, my PTSD is kicking in just thinking about some of the things we went through with leads way back. But as you're out here and you're getting started, we're going to talk about some of the different alliance advantages. that are out there. And by the way, Tia, if we have leaderboards on that, cue me up if and when, and we'll pull those up if we got leaderboards for the week, because I want to talk about that. But, you know, one of the things I'll tell you is we've learned to build a profitable business. And I think if one of the things I will tell you that the Alliance has done, we've created a platform. I'm going to talk about how to really build a profitable business. And problem is, yes, we use leads because leads get you in front of more people. But there are some other companies out there that their answer for everything is just buy more leads. They're not invested in teaching you, an agent, how to build a productive and profitable book of business long term and how to let that book of business work for you. They're just like, hey, just go get more leads. That's about their only answer for you as an agent. And they don't care because they don't have any tied to your lead costs. Just like keep getting more leads and keep swinging at it. It'll come. It's bound to work out someday. All right. At the Alliance, we don't believe in that. We believe in teaching you how to be profitable. I know some companies say, well, we don't have enough leads here, but if you fly across the country, there's leads over there. And hey, guess what? There's nothing wrong with traveling to go see a group of people. But if that's the only answer somebody's got for you to get leads, that's a problem. And so we're going to talk about how do you focus locally and how a lot of our agents do focus locally using different lead types to stay local. We're going to talk about having the right mix of products and programs to go back to the clients you're building and how that's a huge strategy. So that's another piece we're going to cover. We're going to talk about how to reach all of the leads, how the tools we use to make sure we're reaching all of the leads, and how to stay in touch with the clients. Those are 4 things we're going to kind of hit on as we focus on this theme of the Alliance Advantage, is to help you build a productive and profitable business and how it's really allowing people to grow. But I'm going to talk about this 40/40 Fight Club. Rumor has it that there is a group that Andy has invited that's getting ready to attend Treasure Island like here in the next couple of days. And they were chosen from folks on this 40/40 Fight Club, people that are booking 40 appointments and interviewing 40, approaching 40 different people about our business. They're focused on both sides of their business. And guess what? We talk about 40/40. Well, ideally, it would be if you did it all in 1 week. But guess what? On this 40/40 tracking sheet, it doesn't matter if it takes you 2 weeks or 3 weeks, or maybe you book 40 appointments in 1 week and it takes you 3 weeks to do 40 interviews or talk to 40 people about what we're doing. That's fine. Once you've filled up both buckets, turn in your form. Get credit. Get the swag. Get you a hat. Get you a pullover. Get you the sweatpants. Get you a cup. Get you invited to the next big thing that they're going to have up in the cabin coming up, I think the 6th and 7th and 8th of May. So, man, jump into 40/40 and just looking at the people that are here. I mean, some of the folks that have already got it. I see Gus and Mercedes. A few of the folks are on there as having the hoodie winners, and we've got the pants winners jumping in. And I'm not going to be able to call off all the names, but I see, my gosh, a number of people. But then we got the folks that have gotten the hat as well. Dalen, Chris Manifold, Alan Hooley, Tim and Nikki Long, Steve, I think it's Mamaritas, Terry and Tia Edwards, James and Pamela, Jake and Belle Krause have all been up there 3 times. And then for the tumblers, we got Mindy Shipley, Alfonso Thomas, Jared Gonzalez, Jake and Bray Joseph, and Stephanie Rodriguez. So congratulations to those folks. But by the way, what they're doing isn't rocket science. They're booking 40 appointments. And maybe they didn't hit 40 some week, maybe hit 35, but they've made a record of that. And then they've got, hey, I've interviewed this many people, and they've got a record of that. And then they fill out the form once they've hit 40 in both. And then boom, they're getting swag. They're being incentivized to do the simple, basic things that help us build your business. Why are we making a big deal of that activity? Because we know doing both of those things is the secret to building a massive business. Selling and recruiting is going to get you places. So appreciate that. I don't know if we have a one-pager, Tia, that we're supposed to be looking at. If you've got a couple other leaderboards that Andy wanted us to highlight, if you do, that'd be cool. All right. Oh my gosh, this Alaskan trip. Alaska is beautiful. I can remember one of our first trips early on in the business was an Alaskan cruise. I remember making friends. I remember watching just some of the coolest things I'd ever seen. Being there in Hubbard Bay, where the Hubbard Glacier is rolling. Yes, I rolling like you see it in real time, but it's gradually creeping down, this piece of land. and to watch chunks of it fall off into the ocean. We caught a photo of a chunk that's like the size of a 10-story building that we saw fall off in real time. And watching that and watching the ripples of the waves and watching these little icebergs, or I don't call it iceberg, little piece of ice with a seal on it. Like, oh my gosh, that seal, he's going to fall off, and he might try. No, seals swim. But either way, we were like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen to that seal as he's on this piece of ice? It's floating. And just watching that real time was crazy. You know, we had some other cool experience, like taking a helicopter and landing on top of a glacier and trekking around, or going out salmon fishing. While we were salmon fishing, we were watching whales breach. It was like salmon fishing and whale watching in one. That was just, the whales breaching was kind of an extra part of the experience. It wasn't planned. But those are some of my memories. And my wish for you is to make sure you join us, that you're able to be there, and that you can bring someone with you. I would want you to bring someone with you, bring an agent, encourage someone else to get there. And so here we are on this leaderboard. These are people that are on track. And I mean, the crazy thing is we've got 3 people qualified, with Jake and Belle Krause, Vinod, and Megan Wood have all gotten themselves qualified. So congratulations. Bubba Skinner's almost there. Kelly and Haney and Jeff Turner almost there. Bradley and Ashley Beal almost there. Tim Tipton, I see, is knocking it out there. Grant and Jail Swindell, Joe and Tony Walker. I saw Joe post on the private Facebook group. He plucked up another 9,000 IULs and some annuities the other day. Mark Hutchinson, Kristen, part of Brandon Ashley Beal's team, rising up the ranks. Mike and Michelle Allman, Marcus and Carla Richardson. Hey, way to go, Jake and Ray Joseph. Number of people that are just crushing it. And I could be reading all the names here, but just, you can see this leaderboard. It should be posted on the ARC. It's typically getting updated. So if you want to see where do you stand, and these are all the people that are on track, as far as I know, from what I understand. Now, this extreme Alaska bonus, here's the crazy thing, is that Andy's put up $1 million. He's got $1 million at stake in the pot to be split amongst everybody that goes above and beyond $125,000 of premium that's issued for the year. So as soon as you get over $125,000, you have a share of this pot. Now, as you can see, Jake and Belle Krause, if it ended today, would get $591,000 as a bonus. Now, good news for everybody else is it's not ending today. You've got 9 months to get you up over that $125,000 threshold and carve out a piece of this pie. But right now, if it were to have ended today, Jake and Belle getting 591, Vinod 221, Megan Wood 187,000. So, all right. And Belle Krause just texted me they're fighting to get the extension done by the end of this month. So if you're wondering, well, how long does it take to get the trip and the extension? 3 months. You know, if you're focused in doing stuff, and maybe if you're just getting started, it takes a little bit longer. Marico's put up some money. They've got some things up there as a contest for those that are doing some things with Marico and know about them. I know Sarge Wilson's kicking butt with 20 grand in 19 applications. Timothy Long's up there. Megan Wood is already up there. Got her name in the hat. We got some others in the hunt for whether it's the dinner and the swag, the hat and the pullover and the tumbler. So America, we're hearing that they don't believe in pending. You're able to actually put the client's information in, and it will tell you if they're going to qualify without the application even fully completed. So if there's a problem, you can back up and go to another product right there. So that is an advantage. If you are working with America, we like them. So keep it up, a good part of our program. What's our next leaderboard we need to hit? Okay, Foresters run a contest. Debbie Ben is crushing it with 26,700, competing against the rest of the Foresters distribution around the country. So way to go, Debbie. Stephanie Rodriguez is up in there. I see that with a $400 bonus on the line. And it looks like there's other folks that may be there. Adam Johnson's up in there, and we've got a few others. So, hey, way to go. Cash is king. Hey, American Amicable, they're putting up some money. We've got, it looks like James and Pamela, Jeff Wilhelm, Timothy Long, Dee Dee Myers, Megan Wood, and Misha. It's kind of fun when you see a leaderboard. I say, hey, James and Pam, Jeff Wilhelm, Dee Dee and Megan, 4 out of 6 on my team are up in the running, but there's others folks that could be there. They're paying for a hotel at our May 8th event. By the way, I'm just going to stop here. If you've not heard about May 8th, like, I'm out. Okay, May 8th, we're having a big heavy hitters boot camp. You want to be there on that boot camp. If you want to know how to register, they're pulling it up right here. If you'll scroll down, and you look at the events, upcoming events, there's an open house on May 7th, which is a Friday, and then there's a boot camp on May 8th. You're invited to both, but please register for each if you plan to be at both. You're like, well, I'm going to be at the boot camp, but I'm not getting into late on Friday. Don't register for the 7th. They're going to be planning food on the 7th. But if you're going to be at both, register for both. If you got agents on your team, have them register for both. The cost of this event to you is my favorite price, free $99. Okay, so, but you are going to have to get there, right? So if you need a plane ticket, if you need a car, people are flying in, booking hotels. It's been a while since we've had an event where we've kind of had a call and brought everybody together, but it looks like as more vaccines are rolling out and some people already got the COVID, they got the antibodies and they're feeling comfortable, we believe it's going to be safe to have this event. We do have a limit of 1,000 people that we can safely get into this venue. So please register. We want you to be one of the 1,000. If you can't go, please cancel your reservation so another person get in. I've heard we're very close to having that booking filled. So please, if you're looking at go now. If you're sitting there on your phone, get the registrar. If you have to disconnect, I'm not offended personally, you can come back, but go get your registration for that event now. If there's someone on your team that needs to be there, Mike, what if they're not licensed? All the more reason if they've probably not been to our campus. Our campus, it's almost like a sacred place in that we just have so much there, from the lead performance team to President's Club to other key agents that are going to be there, the ABTF, and we're going to have top leaders, top agency leaders, Andy Albright, people from carriers are going to be there. It's going to be a massive huddle up there on that 8th. You don't want to miss out. Okay.
Hey, Mike, I just want to throw out there, a couple people have asked, well, I've already been to a heavy hitters, especially at the Burlington location. I went there last time, so I don't have to go. Tell them why this is different and why they need to be at this boot camp. This is an Andy Albright exclusive, tour of the whole corporate office. I mean, you just elaborated and really killed it, but this is different than the other heavy hitters. That's why we're not calling it heavy hitters.
Thank you. You're right. It isn't the heavy hitters boot camp. This is, the first thing is, maybe we probably need to find a better name for this, but I know it is a boot camp, but here's what I'm going to tell you. We're bringing in anybody and everybody. Almost think of this as like a coming out party for the Alliance, because we've not gathered the team like this. It'll have been almost 18 months. And so the first thing is, I will tell you, the intellect and the talent that will be in that room. And it's not just what's in the room for that period of time. If you're listening, you're wondering, is you have a chance to get around all of our fast growing agency managers. All of our top producers are going to be there. If you're like, I'm trying to get good at Medicare, you need to be there. I'm trying to get better at what I'm doing with Final Expense. You need to be there. I'm trying to get better at doing more conversions and working with my CRM, my book of business. You need to be there. It's like, if there's one part of your business, we're going to have people that have probably dominated that part of their business that you're trying to get good at. Here's your chance not just to hear about it from stage, but to find that one person and sit down with them at lunch or breakfast or dinner or getting a late night drink on Saturday or Friday night and pick their brain. It's funny, I have a lot of people say, man, I want to get around Megan Wood. Well, first of all, please catch the video clips we've got of her. But then beyond that, please take a moment, and in addition to getting those video clips, be at this event and actually find her and pick her brain and sit down with her. So the quantity of people, the number of folks are going to be there in one space for you to pick and choose from is something we've not had a chance to pull off in a while. And I love the heavy hitter boot camps. We maybe had 50, 75, 100 people, but folks, we're going to have 100,000. We're going to have 1,000 plus people there. Maybe we're just supposed to say 1,000 in case anybody else is listening, and no more. But it's there for you to be there and figure out who out of those 1,000 do you need to go spend some time with. And I would just heavily encourage you. So if you've been to a boot camp and you got value, take the lid off on this and see it. I think just about all of our major carriers are going to be there. If you've not made a friend with our carriers, here's your chance to do that. If you're like, I've heard good things about this Americo, well, great. Go meet Will Coatney. Hey, I've heard good things about Foresters and Bruce Barak. Yeah, Bruce wants to meet you. He's going to be there. I'm trying to get better at how I use BAM. You want to know Chris Norris and Amber. You want to get a selfie with them so you can introduce them to your clients. Say, yeah, here I am with my partners. Okay. Take advantage of that. Please, please, please. I encourage you. I'm going to be there. I'm coming in early. Some people say I'm coming in Friday. I'm coming in Thursday. Ha, top that. I guess you're coming on Wednesday. Beat me. Okay. All right. Be there or beat me there. We're going to jump into some more specifics of this building a profitable business and the alliance advantages we've got. Ashlyn, I see we've got you there, and I'm going to pull you in a minute. Stephanie, talk to us. Stephanie, talk to me a little bit. Like people, so we saw your name on that Foresters leaderboard. I know you've been crushing it for a while. Tell people a little bit just about your background so people kind of know where you came from, and a little bit about just things that you're excited about in your business right now.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Mike. I'm really happy you told us that story about the leads and how you used to get them, because it makes me extra appreciative of how easy we have it now. So thank you. But I've been here, I think, going on my second year. I am in Florida, so I'm pretty close to Treasure Island. Before this, I did massage therapy and esthetician, so I did facials for people and massages. And then I was a stay-at-home mom for a couple of years, and then we bought a house, and I filled out a mortgage protection lead and found you guys. But it's been really great. It was my first full year was this past year, and it was just amazing. There's a lot of support in the alliance, and you know, just in between teams and different teams, like I love being able to call anybody that I might need help with. Like Medicare is one of the biggest things that I've been working on lately, and Ivy and Gina Hawk, they are a wealth of knowledge, always around to help out. This is, I guess, my first full Medicare season. Starting out, it was like I needed them every step of the way, and they were always there. It didn't make me feel bad about it. Now I kind of have a little bit of a better handle on it, but I like it because pretty much every client that I was helping with life insurance, if they were, 64 or older, I was asking them, hey, did you have a chance to get your updated Medicare plan this year? And they would say, yes or no. And I think I helped about 46 different people just by asking them that question. And so that was a huge bonus for me this year. That was a nice big bonus to have on top of all the other stuff that I was paid out. So Medicare has been
crazy. 46 people just from your life insurance clients that you learn on the Medicare. I'm going to jump into that. I want to back up. As you're building your business and you're out meeting with clients, talk to me a little bit about your current lead mix. Like, are you working with mostly final expense or mortgage protection, or using direct mail, internet? What's your typical blend of resources that you're using as you're out there getting your business, as you're rolling your business right now?
So I've upped it recently. The last couple months I upped it. So you want to know how much I spend a week?
Both how much you spend, but which vendors are you using?
So I do about $1,000 a week. I focus a lot on final expense direct mail leads. I get a few mortgage protection in there, and I do Mail Pro leads on top of that. Occasionally I'll get some Bang Bang leads. Those are the Facebook leads. But for the most part, I really like our leads. I think that our direct mail leads are the best ones. I really enjoy the RW2s and the RWs. So I think it was 2 weeks ago, 3 of my best, sales helping families were from 2018 leads. So there were people who were like, oh my God, nobody's gotten to me, or, whatever somebody not from our company did help them with, I was able to save them money. So I really enjoy the ones that are a couple years old, a few months old.
Yeah. In fact, it is funny. I just had an agent yesterday who was sitting down with an RW2 lead person who sent in a lead 2 years ago. And that person 6 months ago went and bought a policy through Mutual of Omaha. Yay, that's great. Mutual of Omaha is one of our carriers. We love it. Except this is a healthy person who bought the Mutual of Omaha direct to consumer program. And some of you are like, well, so what? What's that mean? And if you don't know how to review policies, this is really big. But Stephanie, do you know, you want to explain, I'm assuming you know, but do you know what that Mutual of Omaha direct to consumer program is?
It's a 2-year wait period, correct? It's the guaranteed issue one for a healthy person. That's crazy.
It is crazy. And so we're finding people that these are the same people that maybe would tell you on the phone, oh, I already took care of it. I don't need anything else. And then you sit down and it's like, oh my gosh, you've got a great policy for a dead person. I mean, for someone that had a heart attack last week, this is a great policy. Well, did you have what's wrong with you? I'm like, and look, is something wrong with you? And just being, helping them understand you qualify for something way better. And then when you sit there and you're able to help them, it's such a good feeling to know that you helped them get more coverage at a lower price and an immediate benefit is a big deal. And there's nothing wrong with Mutual of Omaha and the fact they've got this product out there, but there's a lot of people that are just uneducated that think, well, this is all that's out there. It must be a good option. It's Mutual of Omaha. And they just don't know. And this is where we're on a crusade to help people. This is where we're helping people. We're changing the world. We're changing lives. So that's big. All right. So Stephanie, I heard you say you're working with direct mail, leads, direct mail follow-up leads for mortgage protection and final expense. I heard you say you're using Mail Pro. And when you go to Mail Pro, do you use their life internet leads or their final expense internet leads?
I like the final expense ones that are like 140 days old.
So okay.
Yeah, I don't like the
$4 ones. Okay, and all right, so that's your kind of lead mix and what you're doing. And so now tell me, because you have access to all of these lead types, how many counties do you have to drive around to serve all the families that you're helping?
My county.
One county. So do you have to hop on a plane and fly to California to help that many families?
No, I get to stay right here in my county. I mean, it's a big county, but there's too much for me to do. That's why I'm constantly trying to get agents to come on board with me. Like if I showed you all my leads, you know, it would be ridiculous. I just need help. Like there's a lot of people just in Pinellas County. I need people to help me out because there's nothing worse than meeting or going to see a family or knocking on a door and having them say, oh, that person died last week or that person died 2 months ago. And you're like, wow, this lead's been sitting in my car for a couple months. If I would have gone and see them, you know, I may have been able to help them or, you know, so it's just we need help. We need people to help us and we don't have to go a crazy distance to do it.
Yeah, and I think that's big. And so like what I heard Stephanie say is she's using 3 different vendors to get leads in case one source runs low for a week. She uses multiple types from the different vendors and allows her to stay geographically focused. So instead of having to go pay for more gas to fly to a different or drive to a different county or pay for a hotel to spend the night, you can just keep it all in your business and keep focused. In fact, how are you at referrals and secondary sales, Stephanie? Is that a big part of your business right now?
Yeah, with a lot of different things because I've gotten really good at learning about our critical illness and the hospital indemnity. So it just depends on if I have enough time with the client I'm at. I will talk to them about something else, but for the most part, I'm going back a few days later or a week later and helping them out with something else, whether it's Medicare, critical illness, hospital indemnity. Hey, Noel. But yeah, I do like to do referrals. It's a great feeling when a client just loves you so much, they call their sister or their cousin or their kid right then and there, and they say, hey, you have to meet with Stephanie. But yeah, I do both referrals and second appointments.
That's cool. Okay, so I think if that's one of the big advantages, and kind of get Megan's take on this too. Megan, if you were able to speak, I'm probably going to jump back to on some more of the Medicare stuff, Stephanie. But Megan, again, for those that don't know, tell people like where you live and the size of the county. And I think you're working in 2 counties, but just give us some perspective of the scope of your lead mix. And in fact, let's start off with how many families have you helped so far today?
7.
7 families?
That's right.
And
Well,
so-
no,
and so-
I've helped 4 families, wrote 7 out.
7 applications. And
7
all right,
applications.
and how many of those came from leads that you've just gotten, and how many were secondary sales?
3 were secondary sales.
3 of the 4 families?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay, cool. All right. So now, since we're kind of talking about the lead blend and the focus on leads, share with us, what are the things that you do? What are your lead sources you're working right now to make sure that you can stay kind of around the same geographic center?
Okay, so I'm doing the direct mail lead, and then I'm also doing bang bang leads with John Davis. And then I pick up some of the Mail Pro if needed.
Okay, so using all types. Now, in your market, where you're at, can you even access RW, like follow-up leads with direct mail? Is that even an option for you?
No,
Why not?
because it's so small here.
You're the only one that takes A leads, and you get all of them, and so there is none. So sometimes, okay, so if you are the best and only agent in your county, there may not be any RW leads, but that's where having the Mail Pro and the Bang Bang helps keep you focused to still see the number of families. And again, just that mindset. Megan, how many applications are you typically writing a week right now?
Well, I'm writing about 10 to 13 a day. So roughly around 75 applications a week.
Okay, is what you're writing and submitting. So now, how much of a lead investment is that taking you to kind of drive that kind of volume?
How much am I investing?
Mm-hmm.
Last week I invested 1,700 in leads.
Okay. Now, was that for you and your team, or just like was that leads you got for other people? Or was that for you personally?
Last week it was for me and my team.
Okay, so that was also your team. So some of that was for personal, some was maybe for some leads that you bought for someone else. Is that correct?
Yes.
How much of that was that 1,700 would you say was for your personal sales? I just want that.
I probably did about 1,000 for my personal sales.
All right, so about 1,000 for you, and then 700 that you may have invested in for some new agents. Got it. Okay, perfect. Okay, so with that said, we talked about the types.
That is perfect right now, but people probably are freaking out right now, saying $1,000. Megan, how much did you spend when you first got started on your personal leads?
Nothing.
What did you do? How did you have people to talk to then?
Mike and you invested in me, and then you taught me how to invest in myself.
I think that's an important point.
It's a big.
I wasn't putting more than $5 in my gas tank at a time. I wasn't about to buy a $25 lead.
And I think this is so crazy because when people get started, here's another alliance advantage. We have the ability to start somebody like Megan did at a 55% commission level, which is our lowest. Okay. But we took the lead risk to invest in Megan when she didn't believe in investing in herself at that point in terms of leads. But as she started to make money, what did we teach you to do, Megan?
What? When I start making money, I'm investing in myself, and now I can invest in my team, just like you did me.
So we gradually started. So when you first started to invest in leads, what do you remember being your first lead investment? About how much was that?
$25.
About $25 a week. And then it gradually went up, and your commission levels gone up as you took ownership. We were able to do that. There are some companies that say the only way we'll start you is if you've got $500 or $1,000 of leads to invest. Well, good news is here at the Alliance, we can get somebody started and invest in them to get them moving. And then as they're able to learn, how do I reinvest in my business, take them up to a higher level. Now, if you're liquid and you're like, hey, great, I'm willing to put up leads right away. Good. We can get you started at a different point if you're willing to take ownership on the lead cost. But that's a big advantage that we have a lower level contract and a way for somebody to build up and get some sweat equity in the game to get things rolling. So that's huge. So big tool to help you if you're building a business or if you're here checking things out and wondering, what's it look like when I'm getting started? All right. So Megan, you've talked about the lead blend. I appreciate it. We're going to come back and talk about some more things. But I think just understanding that it's so key when you've got the ability to stay focused geographically, because time is money, versus driving around multiple counties and trying to, in fact, I'll even say it, once upon a time before we had these lead sources several years ago, sometimes you couldn't get this many leads in one county, and you would have to have a GMR for 5 or 7 different counties and plan to go to one county a day, because it didn't exist where you could get this many leads in a small county, because we didn't have all these different tools. So that's really taking the lid off of how many people we can see in a day, and not having to worry and say, well, this county's this day, and I got to go over to this part of the state this day. We can keep going back to the same place. And then, Megan, when you're getting referrals from people, what are you finding? Where do the people that you get referrals on, where do they live? Are they in the same county, or are they in other counties typically?
They're typically in the same county.
So it allows you, as you learn to get referrals, to keep going back. And same thing on the CRM, as you learn to leverage the CRM and celebrate and going back. So if you can look at the different lead tools, look at going back for secondary sales using the CRM, and then getting referrals, it keeps you more and more focused. That's just a huge piece we want people to really learn as they're building their business. I'm kind of going to shift over a little bit. As we're getting these leads, I think one of the next big things to help people understand is how to reach all of them. Shelby, I noticed your camera went off for a second, but Shelby, when you got a second, I want to pick your brain a little bit as you've been changing some things up and getting bold. And so real quick, Shelby, if you don't mind, share people a little bit about when you got started, and maybe how you viewed things when you got started, and just quick, your background for us.
All right. So I've been with the Alliance now, I think March is my 8th month. I started back in August of last year. So how I got started with the Alliance, I was fresh out of college. I graduated in December of 2019 from Georgia Southern with a fancy bachelor's degree in kinesiology. And I was working at a country club. I was doing personal training and making a little bit of commission off of that, making my $9 an hour, and then teaching like strength and aerobics classes to the old ladies out at the country club. And then in March, we shut down because of COVID. We were all unemployed for about a month. And then when we came back slow, just kind of like working through and before the club opened. Then when we opened back up, we were only allowed 5 people in the gym at a time outside of employees. So I wasn't allowed to teach classes. I didn't have room to book clients for personal training. And I was just I was being overworked and underpaid for what I was doing with keeping up with all the COVID guidelines. So I was in about June or July, I started really just applying for anything and everything I could do to try to find a new job, just because I wasn't even able to pay bills and put gas in my car. And then Blake from Junior Korea's team reached out to me from the ZipRecruiter ad, and I got my license. It took me 2 days to take the online class. I took it on a Thursday and a Friday, and then I went Saturday night at like 9:30 and took my state exam, passed the state exam on the first try, and I was licensed within like a week and a half. I wrote my first app on my grandma. I wrote one on my mom, and then one on my good friend Valerie. And then after that, in the beginning, Blake and Junior were paying for all my leads and helping me, because I came into it with no income. I jumped straight in full time and just quit my other job because I was ready to get out of there. But I came in scared and skeptical and didn't know what I was doing. Tried to be hard-headed in the beginning and not ask for help. So I would call Blake and Junior, but I wasn't real sure. But I was trying to do things on my own, but I didn't know the products I was trying to sell to clients at first. But I learned a lot and learned very quickly that Blake, Junior, Mike, Noel, anybody I can call when I need help and always have help and get exactly what I need done. But I've worked a lot recently with, what was it?
Oh, go ahead. You're fine.
And then just recently I've noticed in last week when Noelle was down in Lakeland and we saw her, I was down in Lakeland in December, when Mike and Noel came down and did the boot camp there. And I've just being down there this week, I realized how much I've learned and grown just like in the past 3 months.
She has grown a lot in the last 3 months. How would you say that you approach things before in terms of your personality? How did you approach things versus how you're talking now is way different to when you were talking before? We talked about this when I was down there a week ago.
Yeah. I think I'm a people person, but before I was just kind of timid and scared and didn't really know I didn't know what I was doing, but I was learning. But I still don't really know what I'm doing. I'm learning more and more, but the biggest thing I think that has helped me a lot is how much I talk to Junior and just how he's kind of reconditioned my mindset to keep everything positive, not let one bad appointment or one bad dial go into the next one, and resetting after everything and just thinking people love me, people in Savannah love me, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to help this family and do the best thing I can do for them.
Hey, that is so huge. And I know that there's people out there that are just starting, because I've heard some people talk. I'm like, I know somebody needs to hear this.
Yeah.
I'm just like, and it's probably more than one person. It's probably more than one person who, I mean, they had one bad thing happen and all of a sudden it's like, wowsy, wowsy, woo, woo. And, it's like, and then it's affecting the next 5 clients. And hey, maybe you weren't supposed to help that first one, but we needed you on your game because it was maybe the second, third, or fourth one after that you were supposed to be there. And if you're off your game, you might have blown it. So that's huge.
And each bad appointment is a learning experience. Even if you don't think it went well, you might not realize it then, but you learn something from it.
That's right. If you lose, you can learn. And if you can learn, well, that's a win. So even when you're losing, you're winning if you're trying to learn. That's a massive, massive takeaway. Cool. All right. So talk about some of the things that you've changed up to get better at your appointment setting. Like, did you start primarily with booking from the phone? Have you woven in door knocks? Or talk to us a little bit about kind of your growth in that arena.
I'm still primarily booking appointments from dials, but I've gotten a lot better with organizing and figuring out with the leads of people that I haven't contacted how to structure like my route for door knocks. So if I book appointments on Monday and I have a gap from like 2 to 4 o'clock on Tuesday that I couldn't fill that appointment, that's when I look at where I'm going to be after the last appointment before that gap, and look at like the zip code and figure out what leads are close by that one that I can go hit at least one door knock if I'm going to sit with them and right then, or at least hit 4 or 5 within that hour and a half that I have to be able to use the leads, and not just, if I can't reach them, not use those leads. But I'm primarily doing door knocks on my GMR A lead. I've done a few on the Mail Pro leads, but I've learned a lot from that, the video that Megan posted about her door knock script. I've watched that and listened to that and started implementing that. And then dialing every time there's a live dialer, either on y'all's Zoom on Monday mornings or Junior's Zoom with somebody on our team. I'll book a couple appointments and then take like 10-15 minutes when I take a break and just listen to them dial and listen to how they've kind of tailored their script and pick out little things that I think might work for me and kind of tailor mine a little bit every now and then. I change it up a little bit. I change it from person to person, just kind of depending on their personality, but just learning how to, and especially learning how to handle objections that you've gone over a lot on those Zoom calls has helped a lot. Just learning, taking a little bit from everybody, because everybody's script and everybody's how they handle objections is different. But just like I've learned a lot from listening to not Kate, what's her name? I can't remember. Kate, is it Katie in y'all's office? Katie Monahan. Okay. Yeah, Katie, listening to her, I've learned a lot. Listening to her with how she handles objections and just kind of how she steers a conversation.
Okay. So I think that's big. So I heard a couple things.
There's a lot.
There's a lot to unpack. And I guess
another huge advantage is the alliance support, and you're talking all about the support.
Yeah.
a lot of companies and agents don't have the support like that they get.
Don't have it.
So you just rattled off several names of people that you're able to call and get a hold of when you're out running appointments. I think that's big. Real, what I call appointment day support. Another big advantage you talked about is being able to listen and watch someone book appointments. Is that we make that open.
Watch someone that's being successful is the biggest thing.
Yep. So
you can watch somebody
watch-
that's good at what they're doing and try to figure out what they're doing is awesome.
Yeah, that's a huge piece. So the fact that you've been able to leverage that, because you're at an outpost where we don't have another agent on our team specifically. So the fact that you're taking advantage of the tools, because it's one thing for us to say we have the tool, but the fact that you're using it, that's a big thing. And then the other thing you kind of wove in is that you're not static, meaning you're not staying the same in how you do things. Like, even though you've gotten better and you're producing more now, and we could talk about your numbers just to give some of us a credibility, but just the fact that you've not viewed yourself as arrived, and you're like, I'm still listening to get a little bit better when other people are available for me to listen to. And the fact that this is a thinking man's game. And hey, guess what? If you're not paying attention, you could start to drift off course and find yourself in a position where, hey, all of a sudden, maybe you're not booking like you were, and maybe you need to bring it back in and figure out where did you lose it? So that's a big piece. Talk to me about when you first started doing door knocks. Go ahead.
Staying consistent is the biggest thing. If you put in the same or more effort every week, you're not gonna have awesome results every week. But keeping the consistency, making sure that your success isn't based on your effort. If you keep your effort high, you can't blame success on you not trying.
There we go. Hey, that's big.
For lack of success.
Talk to me about how you felt about doing door knocks initially and how that's changed or evolved.
Initially, I hated door knocks. I was scared of them. I'm in Savannah, Georgia, so a lot of my door knocks are in downtown, which are kind of scary. Some parts of downtown are very scary, and I was scared to go do door knocks. But I've finally started to consistently do door knocks. I've managed to sit with just within like the last 3 weeks, sit with 3 people just immediately from a door knock when they answered the door and they were home. And then I got to where before I was doing door knocks, I was knocking on the door. If they weren't there, I was just leaving and going. And Junior's like, "You're not leaving a sticky note or not leaving a note of any kind?" I was like, "No, I didn't know to do that. Nobody told me that. I just knocked on the door. If they weren't there, I'd leave."
All right. So if somebody's not aware, we have this thing called the misdelivery notice. But like, if somebody's like, "Well, I don't have that. What can I do?" Well, ask and we can get some sent to you. But more importantly, here's a tip.
Any kind of note.
Any sheet of paper will do. What if I forgot a pen? Take a key and jab yourself in the arm and write it in blood. They'll be more likely to call if there's a letter in blood on their doorstep.
We don't recommend that.
Okay, I don't recommend it, but they'll call. They'll be curious. Who blood all over my door? Okay, but my point is, it's not the note, the color or the lines on the note. It's, did you leave a note and leave it fixed somewhere where they're thinking, I can call this person back. But to do a door knock and then nobody answer and not leave a note is sinful. Like, there will be a pox upon your family if you do a door knock and don't leave a note. Okay. All right. So I think that's big. So you've gotten out of your comfort zone to get comfortable with that process now. You're seeing people and even doing some instant appointments. That's big. I think you mentioned that you've been studying Megan's. We had that YouTube up of her doing instant appointment from door knocks, which again, we've had other feedback. In fact, you just got a call from someone in Chicago, or was that you that, or no, I don't know, Megan, you got a call. Megan got the call. That's right. Megan, who was it that called you and talked about how they've been adapting and studying what you're doing on door knocks to get more instant appointments?
Mike Maurice.
Yes, Mike Maurice up in Chicago. Okay, that's right.
Yeah.
All right. In fact, so since we've got people here that maybe haven't heard this, let's give them
another chance.
Give them another chance, and let's give them the 2 or 3 minute version of how you're doing a door knock instantly on a lead, Megan.
Okay. So I'm driving up. Well, I'll first start where I use RotoWire. So the night before, I'm putting in all my addresses into RotoWire, and it tells me the closest house to me, and then the next closest house, then the next closest house, then the next closest house. So I'm not picking. I think George would be an amazing one. I'm going to go see George first because he's a good one. I know he's a good one. But it could be like 20 minutes from where I am instead of 1 minute, maybe 2 blocks away, there's another house I could get to. So I'm putting all those in. I go to the house, but I park like not like right in front of the house because, yeah, I don't want them to be looking out the windows and stuff. So I park behind so they don't see me come in. And then I got my lead in my hand. I got my mask in my hand. I don't put my mask on my face because they need to see your face. They need to see your expressions. They need to see that you're smiling. I mean, like if you cover your face and all you can see is eyes, I mean, I don't know if I'd let you in. I don't know who you are. But I keep my mask in my hands, my sticky notes that are already filled out in my hands, my bag, my ATM, everything. And so I walk up to the door, I knock. I don't knock too loud, but I knock. Enough so the dogs can hear me knocking. But then they come to the door and I'll say, Mike? And you're like, yeah. I say, hey, Mike, my name's Megan. I've been trying to get in touch with you. I couldn't get a hold of you. It's probably because you didn't recognize my number. I do that too. But I was just down the road, so I figured I'd swing by and see if you and Noelle are home, because this is what you had filled out here. It was a state-regulated program. It pays for final expenses, and like I said, I couldn't get a hold of you. So I figured that I'd swing by because I'm the one that's supposed to get you the information. They gave this to me because I live in your area. So it takes just a couple minutes if you got a couple minutes for me.
Okay. And when somebody answers the door with that, how many times do you get the appointment done right there versus how many times do you actually have to schedule another time?
Most of the time it's right then. Probably
like 90%?
8 out of 10 times it's right then.
80%. Okay. So I think, and again, you're just going in like you're expecting that they're available because they're home doing nothing else. So you can just walk in, just expecting.
And most people have a couple minutes. Nobody's going to turn down a couple minutes.
Okay. It might go longer, but you're selling them on the fact that it's a couple minutes.
Right.
And if they like you and things are going, they're cool with you being there. I think that's key. Okay. I want to shift over because we were talking about leads, and I asked Ashlyn to be here because I think we've done some things to add to the number of lead types, which is kind of how we started talking about it. So Ashlyn, are you good in kind of helping remind people, or for people hearing it for the first time, of the different lead resources we've got? You've heard some, Megan and Stephanie mentioned some of the tools they're using, but Ashlyn, if you can go ahead and open up your mic and remind people who the lead performance team is, how you're there to help, and just a quick awareness of the different lead tools that we do have. Oh, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Gotcha.
Okay. Hey, y'all, I'm Ashlyn. I've been here with the Alliance for 5 years, and I help run our lead performance team. We have changed, like Mike said, a lot of things over the years. I unfortunately was not here whenever you guys had to fax your leads, but I think that would be a fun time. But I love how we do it now. It's so much faster. So here's some of the things that you need to know whenever it comes to leads, is that every $100 invested equals about $1,000 in premium. So you've got to invest because scared money don't make money. Most people think that our top producers like Megan Wood and Stephanie are these like magical producers. Like they just have that special magic touch that they just get to go out and book all these appointments and knock on all these doors and just easily get in. But that's not the truth. The truth is they're big investors. They invest big every single week, which is why they're going out and doing the things that they're doing. So for Megan Wood, I know there was one week where she invested $300 in vendor leads, and she invested $650 in direct mail leads. That's a $950 investment in 1 week. And in that week, Megan submitted 52 applications, and 22 of those 52 were from door knocking. And on top of that, she also wrote a $300,000 annuity off of a door knock with a lead vendor lead. this lead vendor lead, that's an internet lead. It's same thing with Bell Kraus. There was one week where Bell Kraus invested $1,250, or I'm sorry, yeah, it was $1,200 in direct mail A0 leads. That week, she booked 49 appointments. She helped 10 families. She wrote 15 life apps and 2 annuities that week. So she invested $1,200. She submitted a total of 17 applications that week for over $71,000. But like I said, that's because Megan and Belle, like they're going out and investing. They're investing $1,000 a week or more just in their personal self, but not on top of what they're also investing for their new people and their downlines. So we do have a ton of different types of leads. We've got direct mail leads, we've got digital leads, we've got internet leads. So here's the thing is at the end of the day, you've got to ask yourself, how much money do I want to make this week? And how many families do I want to help? You've got to decide that number so you know each week what you need to invest to reach those goals. So to find out more about all of the different types of leads that we have, you guys can text leads to 336-343-4369. And I'll give you that number real quick again. So text leads, LEADS, to 336-343-4369.
Okay, that's big. All right, so there's a lot they can learn. So giving us the overview of within the direct mail world of what the Alliance has, what are the main, what would you say the main types that people should know about that we want them to know about in case they don't? And then give us a walkthrough of some of the different vendor leads that people should be knowing about and aware of.
I think all leads. I think everybody should know about all leads. All of the leads are great, but not all of the leads work for everyone. Like Stephanie was saying earlier, she loves those old MailPro leads that are like around 140 days old. Absolutely loves them. She hates the brand new ones, but I've got some people who are like, it's 140 days old. Not going to worry about that one. I'd rather have the one that's a day old. So it's different for everybody, but all the leads work a little bit. You just got to work them all. I would say direct mail leads. And then our lead vendors. We've got MailPro. With MailPro leads, those leads are going to be $4 and $8 a piece, depending on the age of the lead. So with MailPro, leads that are 0 to 30 days old are going to be $8 a piece. And then leads that are 31 plus day old are going to be $4 a piece. So that's one of our lead vendors. The other one that we have is what we call $11 instant internet leads. Those we've been doing those for, it's probably been about 2, maybe 3 months now. But last week we rolled out the Integrity portal for you guys to go and create accounts so you guys can go and buy those leads. So with the $11 instant internet leads, those are all strictly internet leads. But you can go on to the Integrity portal and purchase them right then and there. The leads are real time. So if you guys have gone in there, you have probably noticed that sometimes there's leads available. You might check and it says that there's 30 leads available, but you go and check 2 minutes later and they're all gone. They are going in real time, so they're constantly being put in and they're constantly being purchased. So those can be purchased through the Integrity portal, or you can still contact the lead performance team and we can help you guys get those leads as well. And then we also have $9, we don't create them. They're an Integrity lead, but we call them Lpt Internet Leads. And those are just digital leads that are from the internet. Those are all strictly $9 a piece. And you can order those through us. And we can filter between direct mail, or I'm sorry, not direct mail. We can filter through mortgage protection and final expense for those. So those are the 2 or 3 biggest lead vendors that we're using right now. And then also our direct mail leads.
I'm going to come back real quick.
Okay.
Because you mentioned MailPro leads and how some people don't like the 104 day old ones or whatever. And Stephanie, if you can open up real quick, I had a text from somebody asking, what do you say on, what do you use for your script when you're calling one of those leads? This isn't a script show, but since somebody asked, what do you do for a lead that old?
And
actually really don't change it very much. So I might, yeah. I mean, I might say, hey, Noelle, it's Stephanie. I am your case manager over here at the Florida Benefits Center. I got your request, and I know it's been a while. I apologize. We've been so backed up here. But my job is just to get this information out to you, and, you know, I'll be in the area tomorrow. What time are you around? So I don't make a big deal out of it. I don't say, well, you know, it's been 140 days, but I hope you still need some help. I just blow right by it. So I don't get, with those, I don't know why. I just don't get objections. They don't ever say, well, that was a long time ago. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah, well, because you solve it up front. You say, I know it's been a long time, but anyway, I'm in here. So I love what you just said. I don't make a big deal out of it, so you don't worry about it, so you don't get that objection. When we make a big deal out of ourselves, other people make a big deal out of it. So it's a lot of times we cause those objections on our own.
Yeah, that is a big deal. That's a huge deal. Okay. All right. Thank you. So Ashlyn, I think I'm going to just recap. So we've got the direct mail leads at the Alliance, the mortgage and final expense. We now have the integrity portal. And if you're an agency manager, you received invitation to this. So, and here's one of the crazy things is while we've had access to some of those tools, sometimes maybe we couldn't get to that portal without access because we had to wait for someone from the lead performance team. Now we have access 24/7 to pull those down. So thank you for that, for making that work. That's a big deal. And within that, there's the $11 instant internet leads. They also have their $9 LPT internet leads. And then they also, I think I saw, as we've gotten some, they have like an RW lead, I'll call it, where it's like $1.50 final expense RW type of a lead that's out there in the portal as well with integrity. There's the Mail Pro, which is out there with both life internet and final expense internet leads. And then we've got Bang Bang social media, and they use Facebook and other forms of social media. So in fact, I even tell people if using Bang Bang, don't use the word Facebook because it might have been on YouTube or something else when they responded. So they're beyond just Facebook with that. So several tools that are out there, and just understanding how to use as many as you need to create momentum in the geographic area you're focused on. And I think that's so huge. So Ashlyn, appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for that. So we've got the leads. We're talking about how we use door knocks to reach them. But now that we've made them a client, one of our next big advantages is we have this extreme product mix in the life and health and wealth arena to go out and serve these people. And you've heard Stephanie mention a little bit about the Medicare, Megan a little bit about the Medicare. We got Gina going to talk about the compensation here, but we're building the infrastructure to help you make Medicare a massive piece of your business as you are moving forward. In fact, Stephanie, earlier you were talking a little bit. Stephanie, as you were just getting started, talk to us about how you felt. Like you were just learning the life stuff, and now people are talking about this Medicare thing. How did you feel as a new person now that this extra thing was being dumped on you?
Well, truthfully, at first, I was like, oh, well, I'll just do it. It's another certification. I just went through a crazy life insurance test. This will be nothing. And then the first night I sat down, I was like, oh, wow, this is something. But it only took me 2 nights to get it's called AHIP. That's what in Florida anyway. I don't know, everywhere is a little bit different, but in Florida, you had to already be licensed in health, and then you have to do an AHIP training. So I sat down to actually do it, and I think it took me 2 nights. But, that's with, like, kids and bedtime and dinner. And so if I would have just sat down and got it done, it probably would have been 1 night. And then, I got certified with all the carriers. You have to do special training for all the carriers. So altogether, to get it done, it took me about 5 days. And it is very foreign, but when you pay attention to the training, it answers a lot of the questions. Like if you don't just blow through it and you actually focus on it, there's a lot of those unanswered things that will be answered. And Ivy and Gina are both, they're angels. I couldn't have done it without them. And I know probably anybody who has tried Medicare has also had to use them. You know, they're like a crutch in the beginning, but you learn how to kind of wean yourself off, and it's really not bad once you start it. It's worse in your mind.
Okay, so you can feel some people are just excited, some people feel a little overwhelmed. There's other layers of detail, but I think the biggest thing is you don't have to do it alone. That's probably the big thing I would want people to know. So that's kind of that's a big piece. All right, and you got through it, and so now, how many families are you helping on a weekly basis because you have access to the Medicare? About how many enrollments are you doing on a weekly basis in the off season right now?
I think this week already I've done about 10. Yesterday I sat with a couple who initially I was like, oh, because one of them was 89 and one of them was 85. So here I'm thinking, oh, what am I going to help them with? But then once I started talking to them, I mean, I did critical illness, hospital indemnity, and I was talking to them about their Medicare, and they only had original Medicare. They had no idea about a Medicare Advantage plan. It was like I saved them $260 a month, and for them that was huge because they were living paycheck to paycheck, barely making it. So, you know, because I did the savings of $260 a month, they were able to comfortably afford their hospital indemnity and their critical illness, and, you know, still have a bunch of money left over. To them, that was a huge deal. So when you get to help these families that they have no idea that these things are out there, I mean, there's no better feeling in the world, because somebody on Social Security that may not have a pension and a retirement, like that's a big deal to them. So it's awesome.
Hey, that is. Oh my gosh. I mean, just the story, and there's more stories just like that one couple that people somehow they've fallen through the cracks and nobody's connected them to educate them on what Medicare Advantage or Medicare Supplement can do for them. It's mind-blowing how many are still out there. So, hey, Stephanie, I love that you're making that a big part of your business, your current clients, and the tools we've got. That's amazing. Keep it up. We need you, and just proud to have you on the team doing that. Megan, hey, talk to us a little bit about how you're using Medicare and maybe how many enrollments or families you're helping a week on the Medicare side, and some of the things you're doing or saying after you help them out with life insurance.
Okay, I'm doing about 6 a week in the Medicare Advantage side. I think this story is huge with, you know, I've had several clients that somehow, I mean, they got Medicare and Medicaid both, and somehow they've ended up paying like $400 to $500 a month in a supplement plan, you know, and it's just, it blows my mind that it's like, you could be on a dual plan for Medicaid and Medicare both. So I'm able to save them some money, and then they're able to save them $400 to $500 a month. And they're able to now take care of their family for when they're not here anymore. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing because now we can help our clients in so many different ways than the life. We can help them save money so they can make sure their families are taken care of. But yeah, when I first started, I think I was the first one to start with the Medicare. So I was terrified. I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I reached out to Gina Hawk, and I reached out to Ivy, and I mean, Stephanie's right. They're amazing. I literally took pictures of people's Medicare cards and sent them to them and said, what am I supposed to do with them? I mean, like, it's amazing. I mean, like, how much help that we have here. And I called Mike, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know, like, this Medicare thing, is this something that I should do? And he's like, why not? What do you got to lose? You know, I'm like, okay, here we go.
All right, cool. So I love that you guys both got stories of these families. Now I'm going to switch over, because here's another crazy thing. Because of what Andy's done with the structure on the Medicare side and with integrity and what we've got, we have a very unique compensation plan. And I've asked Gina Hawks to come in and spend a few times talking about it, because for those of you that get out of your comfort zone and you learn this, you go get your AHIP, you learn the products, you start being on the lookout. The rewards financially are massive. And because of what we've built, it's another advantage that nobody else has what we've got. But Gina, I'm going to ask you just to
real
go ahead.
quickly,
I'm sorry.
real quickly before Gina comes on. Megan said something I think was very important. Having all these products and being able to help the client as an all-around kind of thing. Back in the day when Mike was talking about the leads being all soggy and all that, all we had was the life insurance product, and we didn't have very many of those. But we used, if you remember, we used to say we want to create a client for life. Even back then, we would say we want to create a client for life. And now we really do have the opportunity to create a client for life on both ends of it. Because if they're going to if you're going to help them with their Medicare and help them save that money, they're going to put their life insurance business with you. If you have a life insurance client and you have an opportunity, even if you're not AHIP certified, you still have an opportunity to help that client, because we have other agents that are, to maintain that relationship, because that's the biggest thing, is keeping that client for life until you're at a point where you can get AHIP certified and do it. I've had agents call me on that, to try and help them with, because they didn't have AHIP and they weren't certified yet. But creating that client for life is something huge that Stephanie and Megan mentioned. And I think just what Andy's put together here really just kind of puts it all together. And I know Gina is going to share what this all means, but this is a big, big piece. So go ahead, Gina. Thank you so much for helping everybody. I know you're helping people across the country with this, but specifically on our team as well.
Well, thank you guys so much. Can you hear me okay? Am I coming in loud and clear?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Well, thanks for having me on today. I really appreciate it. And you're so right, Noelle. I tell people all the time that I think you would be hard pressed to go into a client's home today and not be able to help them with something. I mean, you would have to really work at it to try to find a way not to help them with something, with everything that we have. And it is such a unique advantage of what we have here at the Alliance, when Andy has put together with all the different ways that we can help clients. And now with what we've got with the Medicare, which is a huge opportunity we talk about all the time. 10,000 people a day turning 65. These are people that are going on Medicare and need help with things that, they shouldn't be just on original Medicare. We can help them save money. And so it's a great opportunity for everyone out there. And what I want to talk just real quickly about is the compensation, because we have an extremely flexible compensation plan. And some of you may have not seen it or be aware of it. If you haven't, talk to your manager, call me, we can go into more detail about it. But because of what Andy and Robbie Kraft have done with the ARC, this gives us opportunities that are incredible out there in how we can compensate you to go out and help your clients with Medicare. So just surface level really quickly, you can get paid 3 different ways on a Medicare sale. You can get a fixed commission that is set by the insurance carrier, a set dollar amount. That's the first way you're going to get paid. Then the second way you're going to get paid is called a marketing allowance. And that's going to vary depending on what your contract level is at the Alliance. So on the life insurance, we talk about the 100% grid. And Robbie Kraft says, and I love this, it's like, you need to get to 100% ASAP, because then it's really easy to calculate your commission. And I am all for that, because I am not good at math. And I'm like, I don't want to have to multiply some things together. So just get to 100%. But whatever your commission grid number is, that's the second way you're going to get paid. You're going to get, if you're at a 55% contract, if you're at an 85% contract, if you're at 100% contract, you're going to get that percentage multiplied by a dollar amount, and you're going to get paid a marketing allowance. And then the third way that you can get paid is through a training allowance. And that depends on how many enrollments you've done. You know, the more enrollments you've done, the more you're going to get on a marketing allowance, or I'm sorry, on a training allowance. You get the marketing allowance no matter what, depending on your contract level. The more enrollments you do, the more enrollments your team does, where you're familiar with it, like Stephanie, like Megan, and can teach other people to do it or train on it, then you get paid a training allowance. So 3 different ways. Whereas most of the time you're going to get paid one way. I'm not good at math, but Mike and Noel, getting paid 3 ways is better than 1 way. I do know that much. So,
in fact, Gina, I'm going to complicate things here.
Oh,
I'll just forgive me, everybody. I know.
Typical Leventovich.
I know. I've heard rumors that there's a 4th way to get paid too. And I don't know if you plan to mention that on I don't want to steal your thunder, but talking about the health assessment as well.
yes, absolutely. There is a 4th way. So that's not complicating it too much. You're going to get the 3, and then there is a 4th way called a health risk assessment. Different companies call them different things. Sometimes they call it a client management assessment or something like that. But you can get anywhere from an additional $50 to $70 per enrollment by going through about a 10-minute survey with your client that you do online. So you do the enrollment, then you do the health risk assessment, and you can get an additional anywhere from $50 to $70 per enrollment by doing that health risk assessment, which helps the client to better use the plan that you just signed them up for. And it helps our companies to tailor plans to what their clients' needs are. So it's a great thing for the client. It does not take long at all. And I mean, that's pretty good pay for 15 minutes work, is get an additional $50. So yes, there are 4 ways in total that you can get paid by doing a Medicare sale. And that's every single enrollment. And you get renewals, and renewals on Medicare are incredible. So yes, it's amazing. You definitely want, if you have not looked at this, you're missing a huge opportunity. You're stepping over dollars to pick up pennies. And just like Megan was talking about, when you can go in and save your clients money, then they have the money to protect their family with final expenses or critical illness, or, you know, all those reasons they ask us there in the first place. And you're able to get them great coverage, save them money, and get them additional coverage that they're wanting for their family. So it's a win-win-win situation.
I hit my mute button there, but that's amazing. In fact, I've heard, as you look at it based on your contract, and what I've heard is a rough estimate, Gina, is if you're doing the initial enrollment for them in Medicare, that the base is, the fixed comp is about 300. If we make some estimates, if somebody's, and I don't know if you have another example you want to share, but if I was just in the first year, you add the base and we make some estimates on the marketing and the training allowance, that somebody could be picking up anywhere from $450 or even all the way up to maybe $600 for the initial enrollment. But let's talk about the renewal side of that. I've heard people say it's about half of which you would have been paid for the initial enrollment for the renewal. Is that correct?
Yes, that
okay,
is
so,
correct. Yeah, so you're right. The fix, that first of the 4 ways that you can get paid, the first one is for a brand new to Medicare client, it is about $300. And then you get paid the other 3 ways on top of that. So you're right. The average agent is probably going to make low end about $400 an enrollment, not counting the health risk assessment. So $450 if they do the health risk assessment, up to, you know, $600 and some dollars plus the health risk assessment. And then renewals about half of that number.
So let's just say middle of the road. So let's say you're somewhere middle of the road contract with us, and you're picking up, say, $500 for your initial enrollment. And let's say you're on Stephanie's pace. So if you're doing 10 Medicare Advantage enrollments a week, that would be $500 for the year if you took 2 weeks off, Stephanie. Okay. So, but now I want to think forward. Let's say you did that for 5 years. If you helped 10 a week for 5 years, that's 2,500 Medicare Advantage clients. So now let's do the math on that. So you've now got 2,500 Medicare Advantage clients times about $250, because we said half that's the renewal rate. That's a renewal income of, according to my little calculator, $625,000 a year, Stephanie.
Don't run off the road, Stephanie.
Yeah. Put your hands on the wheel. Okay, so but like think about that for a second. That's 625,000. Now I realize you might not do 10 every week, and yes, you're gonna have a couple clients that die off because once they die, they don't pay you their renewals. You might have a client that switches a plan, but just think about that for a second. Is it worth learning this as part of your business? Well, I'm not as good as Stephanie Rodriguez. What if you did one a week? What if you did one a week? Okay, and so if you're doing one a week, that's 50 a year, and you did that for 5 years. That's still 50 times 5. That's 250 families that you help times a $250 renewal. That's a $62,000 passive income without hiring anybody, and just based on you getting up and helping one family a week. That's a pretty crazy number. So if we get people just thinking about the power of that in their business, I don't know if anybody stopped to think, but you just sit there and you start to play with those numbers and what could that mean? Oh my gosh, it's off the charts, massive and powerful. Gina, is there anything else that you think people need to know, whether about compensation that you think is important, or anybody else that's getting started, and tips you have for somebody that's trying to make this a part of their business?
Yeah, I would say I do want to stress just how unique this is, because this is very unique. It is because of the compensation structure that we have with the ARC that we're able to do this. So not, most companies cannot pay the compensation like we can. So I know one of the things we're talking about today are the advantages that you have here at the Alliance. And this is a huge one. Because, Mike just added up the numbers. Those numbers add up quickly. And having the ability to pay the compensation that flexible and pay you 4 different ways instead of a couple different ways is huge. So also, if you're running across people that are already selling Medicare, find out what they're making per enrollment. Just ask them, what do you make when you sign up a brand new to Medicare client? What do you make? And trust me, they know. I've talked to these people. They're like $173 or $341. They know to the penny what they make on a new enrollment. And then I usually ask them, does that include the health risk assessment? Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. And then just do the math, because we might be able to, we could likely give them a better compensation to do the exact same work that they're doing now. So you can recruit, is what I'm saying. You can recruit people that are doing Medicare to come over here, get the advantages of everything that they get with the Alliance system, and a flexible compensation system to where we could pay them more for the same amount of work. So as you're talking to people, just keep that in mind. If they're selling Medicare, ask them how much they make and see if we can get them sucked into the Alliance advantage that we have.
Yeah, it's powerful. All right, well, listen, I want to thank Stephanie, Megan, Shelby, Ashlyn, Gina, Noelle, all for being here. It's been an amazing week as March is just cruising. And hey, guess what? There's still 7.5 days left for you to make March a record month for yourself. We have more advantages to talk about. We will be back on Friday.
Yes, we will.
We've got
more guests,
different areas, weaving in some other advantages that we've got on the compensation system, the ARC and the CRM, and BAM. And where we're going with BAM is off the charts, unbelievable for anybody that cares about their own financial future as a client. And it's opening up more doorways and tools. And if you can be excited about what's available in Medicare for the older side, what we can do with BAM for the older and younger clients is getting crazier, and it's just opening up more doorways for you to continue to build and grow your business. So guys, stay tuned. It's our teaser for Friday. You want to be there to hear some of the crazy good things that are happening. And thanks to everybody. Rock on. Make it a good week.
Thanks, y'all.